Hello, boys and girls. It's Mr. Laddick again. Hopefully everyone's having a good day. Today we're going to talk about graphs. A graph shows data information in many different ways that are quick and easy to read. So we're going to talk about this top part up here, which is called a line plot. A line plot shows data on a number line and shows frequency. Frequency is the amount of times things happen. So let's go ahead and take a look at this first slide. It kind of breaks down what a line plot looks like. So in a line plot, most of the time you'll have a key and it'll tell you what the, the X's represent. So the X's right here represent recipes. Okay? You're going to have symbols. Okay? Those are the X's. And most of the time it is X's. Okay? But there can be other line plots out there as well. You'll have a title. The title tells you what they're trying to get across them. Normally the X's are the frequency, the number of students, the number of people voting, or whatever the graph could be. But these are always the people or the students or the amounts. Okay? And here you have categories. The categories are what they're trying to measure down here. So here, the measurements are what we see on a ruler: 1/4, 1/2, 3/4. 1, 1 3/4, 1 1/2, 1 3/4, and 2. These are cups of sugar used in a recipe. So they took a bunch of recipes and then they decided to figure out how many cups are being used of sugar in each. So if I say how many cups, how many people or recipes had 4 cups of sugar. So you would count 1, 2, 3, 4, and you would say 1 cup of sugar, there were 4 recipes for. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the next slide and kind of do some question answers from this. Now, the most important part of doing line plots, because once again we talked with bar graphs and pictographs, is writing the numbers down. Okay? So we're going to write the numbers down on top of each X. That way when we go to answer questions, we'll have all the information in front of us. So we have 2.5 is 1. 2, 5, 4, 2, 2, 3, 2, and 1. So now I don't have to count the X's anymore. I can just look up on top. So let's look for the questions here. How many fewer students spent 2.5 hours than 3 hours on the computer? And we talked about ER words. What to do in ER words. Who can remember? Go ahead and take some time to see if you can remember what we do when we see ER words. Very good. If you guys said subtract, then that is an excellent choice. So now I have to look at what they give us. They give us 2.5, and then they give us 3. So I'm going to go down here to 2.5, and then I'm going to go down to 3. Okay? So I need to find fewer. So that is a subtraction here. So I'm going to come over here and do my subtraction problem. And then write my answer of 4. Okay? How many students recorded their data for the class line plot? How many is an adding word? So now we got to go back and count all of the X's. Okay? So we can do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So there's 22 students that recorded their data for this line plot. Let's look at the next one. We have a keyword here on difference. What does difference mean? Very good if you said subtraction. In the time, so now we're looking at the time. It's very important to understand what we're looking at. Are we looking at the bottom number? Are we looking at the top number? So this is a good indication what we're looking at right here. Okay, so this is, once again, change the color. We're still looking at the time from the least amount of time to the most amount of time. Okay, so we have 4.5. And then we have 2.5. And they said difference, so we're going to subtract them. When you're doing fractions, that just stays the same. So they cancel out each other. So you just have to do 4 minus 2. So the answer would be 2 hours. Okay? Which length of time was the most common? So now we got to find out most common, so we're looking at the students. So we got to look for the biggest number up here. And that would be the 5. And then we have to look at the length of time. So that's the bottom number, because the bottom number is the time. So that would be 3. Okay? So let's go create one. Now we answered some questions. Let's go create one ourselves. So we have a bunch of numbers. And once again, this is mostly going to be measurements that you do. So we did this in class a few times where we measured a bunch of lines and then we had a line plot on the bottom. That's basically what this is. So to easily do this without missing anything, we can just go to each number. Okay, so we're going to start with the 4, and I'm going to count all the 4s I see. 1, 2. So I'm going to put 2 X's on 4 and write the number above. I'm going to go to the next one, which is 3. 1. And that's only 1, so I'm going to put an X and put the number 1. So now I'm going to do 3.5 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the reason why I'm Xing them off is so I know I don't recount that. Okay, the next one is 4 1/4 is 1. Okay, so I put 1 X there. The next one is 4 3/4, so I have 1, 2. The next one is 5, I only have 1. And then 4.5, I only have 1. And then 3 1/4, I only have 1. Okay, so all my data is here now. So I can go ahead and answer the questions based on the data that I chose. So let's go ahead and do that. How many carrots were 4.5 inches long? Go ahead and answer that question. If you said 1, that would be the correct answer. Which length of carrots, and now we're going to look at the bottom part, did the farmer have the most of? Go ahead and take a look at it. Okay, so if you said 3.5, that is correct. How many more carrots, keyword is how many more, were 3.5 inches than 3 inches? Go ahead and do your work. Very good. If you said 4. Which length were the fewest carrots? Which length was the fewest carrots? And sometimes this is a trick question. Which length were the fewest carrots? Go ahead and see if you can come up with an answer. Okay. I would say 3 3/4 because there's no length carrots in that section. So that would be the fewest number. Okay? Sometimes they make you have an X on a line, but in this case there's nothing here, so that would be the fewest. 0 would be the fewest. Okay? Hopefully this helps you a little bit out with line plots. Have a great day, and see you soon.